I will never forget the moment Lisa walked through the door that evening, a carefree, radiant smile on her face. The same smile she used to give me in the early days of our marriage. That smile now cut through me like a knife. I knew where she had been, and more importantly, I knew who she had been with. She placed her purse on the counter and started humming, completely oblivious to the storm brewing in the room. Then her eyes landed on the photograph, lying right in the center of the granite island, framed by the dim light above. Her smile vanished instantly, replaced by a ghostly pale expression. Her breath turned shallow, and she staggered back a step. For a brief moment, I thought she might faint. She gripped the edge of the counter, her knuckles turning white, as if the glossy print before her could physically harm her. I had printed it that morning. The picture showed her, wearing that unmistakable red dress, the one I had bought her for our anniversary 2 years ago. She was laughing, her head thrown back, while another man held her tightly, his hands resting on her waist. Too familiar, too intimate. The backdrop, a boutique hotel in the city center, was the same place Lisa had claimed to be attending a women-only spa retreat. 3 weeks ago, I had hired a private investigator. And now here it was. The proof, the betrayal, the lies, the double life she had been leading. Snapshots, receipts, messages, all meticulously documented, painting a picture too vivid to ignore. The truth had stared at me every night from my laptop screen, daring me to confront it. And now it was staring back at Lisa. What is this?" she finally stammered, her voice barely audible. Her gaze left the photograph and met mine, silently begging for an explanation that would never come. "You tell me?" I said, leaning back in my chair, my voice unnervingly calm. Too calm. The eerie calm before the storm. Her lips trembled, but no words came. She looked cornered, like a deer frozen in the headlights of an oncoming truck. Her mind must have been racing, scrambling to piece together a story, a way out. But there was no way out. "How long?" I asked, my voice slicing through the silence like a blade. "Ethan," she whispered. "How long, Lisa?" I repeated. She hesitated, then crumbled. 6 months, she barely breathed. 6 months. Half a year. 6 months of deception, of sharing her laughter, her intimacy, her body with someone else. The familiar anger stirred within me, but I didn't let it show. Not yet. I stood up, walked to the counter, and picked up the photo. I handed it to her, forcing her to look at it again. "Him?" I said, pointing at the man in the picture. "What's his name?" "Mark," she mumbled, tears pooling in her eyes. "Mark." I let the name roll off my tongue. Mark. The man she had been sneaking off to meet in expensive hotels while telling me she was at book club or the spa. Mark. The man who stole my wife while I worked overtime to pay for this house, for her car, for our life. That Mark. She was sobbing now, her hands covering her face. I didn't move to comfort her. Couldn't. Her tears did nothing but fuel my anger. "Ethan, I'm so sorry," she choked out between sobs. "I never meant for this to happen. It was a mistake." "Stop." I cut her off sharply. "A mistake? Forgetting to buy milk from the store is a mistake. Sleeping with another man for 6 months is not a mistake. Lisa. It's a choice. A deliberate, repeated betrayal." She stared at me, her tear-streaked face filled with regret. But I couldn't tell if she regretted what she had done, or if she simply regretted getting caught. "I can't lose you," she whispered, stepping closer. "I'll end it with him. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this. Please, Ethan. I love you." I laughed then, a cold, bitter laugh that even surprised me. "You love me," I echoed. "You don't betray someone you love, Lisa. You don't shatter their trust, their sense of self, their world, and then tell them you love them." I turned away, unable to look at her any longer. I walked into the living room and picked up a folder from the coffee table. I handed it to her. Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside was everything the investigator had gathered: photos, hotel receipts, timestamps, evidence. Her face crumpled as she flipped through the pages. "Ethan, I saved it," I interrupted her again. I've said enough. For the past 3 weeks, I hadn't just been uncovering the truth. I had been preparing for this moment. I had consulted a lawyer, changed the passwords to all our accounts, and locked down the house. Everything was ready. I want you out of this house by tomorrow, I said firmly. I've spoken to my lawyer. The divorce papers will be ready next week. She gasped. Divorce? Ethan, no, please. We can work through this. We can go to counseling. We can start over. There is no starting over, Lisa. Not after this. The moment you let him into your life, you killed whatever was left of us. She collapsed onto the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. But her tears couldn't erase the damage. They couldn't erase the image of her in that red dress, pressed against another man. They couldn't piece back together the shattered fragments of trust she had destroyed. I left her there, curled up on the kitchen floor, and went upstairs to our bedroom. I grabbed the suitcase I had packed earlier and brought it into the living room. I wasn't going to sleep another night in the same bed with her. That night, I couldn't sleep at all. Memories of our life together played in my mind like a cruel montage. The day we met, our wedding, vacations, the plans we had made for the future. It all felt like a lie now. I wondered how long she had been unhappy, how long she had been pretending. And then, I wondered why I hadn't seen it sooner. By morning, Lisa was gone. She left a note on the counter, begging me to reconsider. I didn't read past the first line. I didn't need to. Her actions had already said more than any words ever could. In the weeks that followed, I focused on rebuilding. I buried myself in work, reconnected with friends I had neglected, and started therapy. I learned to let go of the anger, the bitterness, the pain, and eventually I found peace. One day, I received a message from Mark's wife. She had discovered the affair too and wanted to meet for coffee. We shared our stories, our pain, and our plans to move forward. Strangely, it was therapeutic. We realized we deserved better. We promised to support each other through our healing. A few months later, I heard through the grapevine that Lisa and Mark had fallen apart. She had moved out of the city, leaving behind the life she had destroyed. I didn't feel satisfaction in her downfall, only closure. She had made her choices, and I had made mine. The photo that started it all now sits in a box in my closet, a relic of a past life, a reminder of the lessons I learned, to cherish honesty, to never settle for less than I deserve, and to always trust my instincts. And as for me, I'm more than okay. In fact, I've started dating again. Cautiously, optimistically. For the first time in a long time, I feel free to live, to love, to be happy. And that, I realize, is the best revenge of all.